Should no longer be called elite. Just say expensive. Which may be why they breed a particular brand of detestable graduate, a personality type that does not emerge from Chico State.
Bill Maher just launched an explosive assault on the heart of woke elitism, targeting America's Ivy League with a ferocity that left sparks flying. He didn't mince words, tearing into these prestigious institutions for abandoning reason in favor of rigid ideology. Maher, a longtime critic of the intellectual decay in top colleges, delivered a scorching critique that hit like a thunderbolt. Get ready. This is raw, unfiltered, and bound to leave you reeling.
Why despising Israel became pretty much a requirement of the American left is colleges, elite colleges, the mouth of the river from which this and all manner of radical left, illiberal, yes, illiberal nonsense flows. Supporting all black, that is, segregated dorms, segregated graduation ceremonies and orientation programs, which occur on hundreds of campuses, is illiberal. So is the racism against Asian applicants.
Maher dropped a torrent of hard-hitting truths, slamming America's so-called progressive universities for fracturing students instead of uniting them. He's spot on. America's strength lies in its vibrant diversity, a nation woven from countless cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs, all standing together under one flag. That's why it's called the United States. Generations fought and bled to build a country where differences didn't divide but strengthened. Yet, today's elite campuses, meant to mold future leaders, are fixated on sorting students into rigid categories of identity and grievance. Instead of forging unity, they're fueling discord. Maher voiced what millions feel. This isn't advancement. It's a heartbreaking step backward.
Off of campus? When the First Amendment watchdog group Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression began ranking colleges based on their commitment to free speech and inquiry, Harvard came in dead last. There's only one set of acceptable opinions on campus, and it's policed hard. The old dorm room bull sessions? It's less risky shooting the shit in Scientology.
Maher's absolutely correct. Our universities, especially the top-tier ones, were once vibrant hubs of free expression, bold ideas, and fearless debate. They were meant to be arenas where truth was forged through challenge, where students honed sharp, independent minds. But somewhere, that sacred purpose was betrayed. Now, too many of these academic strongholds have morphed into echo chambers of dogmatic ideology. Open thought is stifled, dissent is punished, and both students and professors tiptoe around, haunted by the fear of being shunned or canceled for a single misstep. If this is the future of learning, we're in deep trouble, and Maher's warning resonates with urgency.
Mill wrote that he who knows only his own side of the case knows little. To which today's college students respond, he and his are cis pronouns. That commit violence against queer and BIPOC communities, so who cares what John Stuart Mill says, whoever he is? Oh, and Thomas Jefferson was a slaveholder. He might have done some other stuff, but it wasn't on the test.
Once, universities were crucibles for visionaries, thinkers, and problem solvers. But now, many graduates can't even question ideas without checking if they align with the latest social dogma. Maher nails it. The fixation on woke ideology has replaced genuine curiosity with performative morality. Instead of learning to analyze, challenge, and create, students are taught to demolish, to tear apart traditions and ideas, no matter their enduring worth. History isn't studied, it's rewritten to fit a trendy narrative. In Maher's view, this isn't education, it's indoctrination, and it's robbing students of the tools to think freely and fiercely.
Should no longer be called elite. Just say expensive. Which may be why they breed a particular brand of detestable graduate, a personality type that does not emerge from Chico State.
Elite schools may demand exorbitant tuition, but they're churning out graduates unprepared for reality. Those shiny diplomas mean little when the education behind them is shallow. Too many students emerge from a system that values identity politics, virtue signaling, and emotional coddling over grit, skill, and critical thinking. The result? A generation that can argue passionately about social trends but flounders in professional settings or when faced with real-world challenges. Maher's right. These institutions have lost their way. They're supposed to shape thinkers and innovators, not fragile crusaders. Prestige is meaningless without substance, and right now, too many universities are failing to deliver.
Turn out someone decent, but for every Barack Obama, there are 2 Josh Hawleys. The former debate team jerk-off who had no friends, that no one likes today, and yet somehow manages to win a statewide popularity contest. Box-checking brown-nosers who don't actually believe anything except that tricking stupid people's fun.
The faint applause when Maher mentioned Senator Josh Hawley spoke volumes, exposing the unease that surfaces when politics collide with personal bias. Maher may not care for Hawley, and that's his right, but dismissing someone doesn't mean their supporters are clueless. People hold different values, heroes, and priorities. Some cheer for Hawley. Others can't stand him. The same goes for Obama. Many still view him as one of the worst modern presidents. That's the messy, vibrant beauty of democracy. Maher's sharp take on Hawley, love it or hate it, is just an opinion. And the power of free speech is that it lets every voice, left, right, or center, ring out loud and clear.
And men like these and the kids who signed the Harvard letter have nothing in common. Actually, I think they do. They all came out of an asshole factory. So, to the older folks, I say, college today is not the college you remember. And to the younger people, I say, don't do it. You don't need 4 years and a lifetime of crippling debt to learn to hate America when you can just watch 5 minutes of selling stuff.
The irony stings. Politicians preaching unity are often the ones sowing division. Figures like AOC and Bernie Sanders rail against the system, vowing to topple so-called elites, yet they mingle with the wealthy at galas and jet off in luxury. Worse, they glorify nations like Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Palestine, countries with stark records of oppression, while demonizing the very nation that grants them the freedom to speak and protest. Instead of inspiring gratitude for America's opportunities, they're teaching young people to resent it. Maher's call-out hits hard. This hypocrisy is poisoning a generation, and it's time to confront it.
Have 300 grand they absolutely need to flush down the toilet, put it in crypto, or buy a van, go to a national park and feed yourself to a bear. Because any legacy dipshit can go to Penn, but a bear, that's hard to get.
It's not all bleak. There's a rebellion stirring, and Donald Trump is at its forefront. He's not standing by as universities sink into ideological quicksand. Trump's taking bold action, targeting institutions and administrators he accuses of pushing divisive, far-left agendas over academic rigor. Love him or loathe him, his campaign to restore reason in higher education resonates with countless parents and students desperate for schools to prioritize knowledge over activism. It's a daring move that could shift the tide in the battle over academia's soul, and Maher's spotlight on this fight feels like a rallying cry for change.
American Families Plan asks the taxpayers to pony up hundreds of billions so that everyone can go to college, and billions more for subsidized childcare so our kids can go to school while we go to school. The theory being that all this education trickles down and eventually gets to Florida. Now, the right is calling Biden's plan social engineering, which is over the top, but Biden's plan is an endorsement of a particular idea, that the more time humans spend in classrooms staring at blackboards, the better. Liberals see more school the way Republicans see tax cuts as the answer.
Education was once a sacred tool, a beacon to solve society's challenges, which is exactly why the woke left has targeted universities. Campuses are their battleground for spreading ideology, not just knowledge. It's no accident. Every lecture steeped in dogma, every rewritten history, every push for identity-based activism is calculated. They know students are tomorrow's voters, leaders, and influencers. By shaping young minds early, they can steer the culture for decades. The goal isn't open dialogue or critical thinking. It's control, disguised as education, and Maher's fiery takedown exposes this strategy for what it is.
Inequality, but actually it does the reverse. If you have a bachelor's degree, you make about 65% more than someone who doesn't. And with a master's degree, it's more like 100% more. And the unemployment rate of college grads is about half what it is for high school grads. I know free college is a left-wing thing, but is it really liberal for someone who doesn't go to college and makes less money to pay for people who do go and make more?
Free college sounds noble. Who wouldn't want accessible education? But scratch the surface, and the motive is clear. It's about influence, not opportunity. Free tuition funnels more students into institutions already steeped in progressive ideology, where professors can push political agendas under the guise of teaching. It's not about empowering students, it's about expanding reach, ensuring a steady flow of young minds molded to think and vote a certain way. What seems like generosity is a calculated move for long-term control. Maher's blistering critique of woke universities strikes a chord because our education system is losing its heart. Yet there's hope. If voices like his keep demanding truth over propaganda, we might reclaim our universities as bastions of free thought. That's it for today's video. Smash the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.